What happens when a young, paralyzed CEO crosses paths with a humble mechanic who changes her life forever? This isn't just a story of class differences. It's about kindness, hope, and unexpected love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's get started. The streets of New York glittered under the city lights as limousines and expensive cars pulled up outside a luxury hotel. Guests in gowns and tuxedos hurried inside, laughing, chatting, living lives that seemed effortless. Among them, a 34-year-old woman sat quietly in her sleek black wheelchair near the entrance. She was a young CEO, known in the business world for her intelligence and sharp decision-making, but tonight she felt small, almost invisible. Her elegant, dark outfit fit the glamour of the evening, yet no clothing could hide the weight she carried inside. Ever since the accident that left her paralyzed, she had learned how to mask her pain behind polite smiles and strong words. But when the night grew quiet, the loneliness pressed harder than ever. As she tried to roll herself forward, one of the wheels caught on the uneven pavement. She pushed harder, frustration building when the wheel refused to move. A small sigh escaped her lips, her confidence cracking as people brushed past without stopping. Some stole quick glances, their eyes filled with discomfort before they looked away. Others didn't notice her at all. To the crowd, she was simply another obstacle in their way to a glamorous evening. She bit her lip, refusing to cry, though her chest tightened with helplessness. Standing nearby was her father, a 68-year-old billionaire who had built empires and demanded respect wherever he went. He looked at his daughter with a mixture of concern and irritation. "You should have called someone to push you," he muttered, his voice sharp. Instead of offering comfort, his words stung, making her feel even smaller. She hated when he treated her like she was weak, incapable, a constant reminder of what she had lost. She looked away, her throat tightening, wishing he could see her not as a burden, but as his daughter who was still fighting to live her life. Just then, a 36-year-old man walked by. He was dressed in rugged dark clothes, his hands rough and stained from years of mechanical work. He didn't look like he belonged outside a luxury hotel, yet he noticed her immediately. Where others hurried past, he slowed down. His sharp eyes softened as he saw her struggling, her father standing by with impatience. Without hesitation, he knelt down beside her wheelchair. "Mind if I take a look?" he asked gently, his tone respectful, not pitying. She hesitated, pride tugging at her chest. She had learned to hate the way strangers often rushed in, treating her like she was fragile. But something in his voice was different. Calm, steady, kind. Slowly she nodded. The mechanic studied the wheel, his hands moving with quiet skill. As he worked, the noise of the city seemed to fade. For once, she didn't feel like a CEO or a broken woman in a chair. She felt like a human being seen by someone who cared. Her father frowned, clearly unimpressed, but the mechanic ignored him. Within minutes, the wheel was fixed. He stood, wiping his hands, his face lit with a simple smile. She moved the chair, feeling it roll smoothly again, and a small spark of relief and gratitude filled her chest. For the first time in a long while, she whispered, "Thank you." The night had passed, but her thoughts didn't. She lay awake in her apartment, staring at the ceiling while the city hummed faintly outside her window. It wasn't just that the mechanic had fixed her wheelchair. It was the way he looked at her, not with pity, not with judgment, but with respect. It had been so long since anyone treated her like that. She thought about his rough hands, the easy smile that lingered even in silence, and how effortlessly he had helped without expecting anything in return. For a woman surrounded by people who wanted something from her name, her money or her position, his kindness felt rare and startlingly genuine. The next day, she found herself drawn back to the garage where she knew he worked. She wasn't sure why she went. Maybe she told herself it was to thank him properly, maybe to pay him for his help, but deep down, she knew it was because she wanted to see that look in his eyes again. The look that reminded her she was still a person, not just a CEO in a chair. He was bent over the hood of an old car when she arrived, the smell of oil and steel filling the air. Her father would have scoffed at the place, but she didn't care. She rolled closer, nervous, almost feeling out of place in her tailored jacket among the stacks of tires and toolboxes. He noticed her immediately and straightened, wiping his hands on a rag. His smile was easy, like he had been expecting her. "Did the chair give you more trouble?" he asked. She shook her head, laughing softly. "No, it's working perfectly. Thanks to you." For a moment there was a pause, the kind that wasn't uncomfortable, but full of unspoken understanding. She glanced around, realizing how simple his world was compared to hers, yet how peaceful it seemed. As they talked, she told him pieces of her story, fragments of the life she had before the accident. The pressure of running a company, the loneliness that money could never erase, the way her father's expectations weighed heavily on her. He listened, really listened, nodding as if her words mattered. And when she fell silent, afraid she had revealed too much, he simply said, "You're stronger than you think." The words weren't dramatic, but they sank deep, healing something she didn't realize was still broken. Days turned into weeks, and their paths continued to cross. He began to teach her small things about mechanics, how to use her hands in ways that felt empowering again. In return, she shared her world with him, books, ideas, and moments of laughter she hadn't felt in years. Slowly, she realized that hope was creeping back into her heart, disguised as the presence of a man who saw her for more than her wheelchair, more than her title. And though her father still frowned at the sight of them together, she no longer cared. For the first time since the accident, she allowed herself to imagine a future not defined by loss, but by love and possibility.